They say you never get a second chance at making a first impression. And while initial meetings certainly do paint a particular picture in most people's minds, to the INFJ, they're not taken so seriously. In fact, to most people with this accurate room-reading personality type, first meetings tell the INFJ nothing at all about what they actually desire to know about someone. Welcome or welcome back, psychos. Before we get into it, we'd love it if you liked and subscribed to our channel, as well as to click the post notification bell so you never miss a video. Alright, let's get right into it, starting with number 1. They understand first impressions don't always result in authenticity. While the idea of first impressions can seem like a neat and tidy idea of self-representation, in the real world, they're never as authentic and genuine as we'd like them to be. With such knowledge and the preference for only taking the utmost truth of things into their reality, INFJs understand this concept firsthand. Through their introverted intuitive lenses, INFJs can see right through the surface level of each individual person they come in contact with. Whether it's the clothes they wear, how they present themselves, their body language, their tone of voice, or their behavior towards others, this personality type can see the misrepresentation of the front of people put on to navigate their daily lives. Just as it's not encouraged to judge a book by its cover, first impressions in the eyes of an INFJ are nothing but the observation of how well someone can play their facade. And while it's not always intentional, and most times actually serves to be quite necessary, first impressions don't serve to have the same importance to this analytical type as they do to others. Number 2. They can't even be their normal selves. Speaking of the initial impression mask that we all seem to wear, INFJs know that they are no different. How can they take others seriously upon first meeting when they are far from being who they really are deep down inside? In fact, the INFJ type is not only one of the most private personality types, but also one of the only types that usually takes months or even years to get to know who they are at their very core. Despite being considerably pleasant in their regard, when first meeting others, INFJs automatically absorb the mood and energy they receive from their conversational opponent and mirror it back to them. If there is an essence of excitement and charisma radiating from another person, they automatically tune into that energy to play a part that is most relatable. This is the same subconscious approach they take when trying to get on the level of someone battling difficult emotions or challenging situations. And while of course, this is in fact a part of the INFJ's authentic personality, sometimes this chameleon-like technique gets in the way of showing what they're truly thinking and feeling. Number 3. They know that anxiety plays a big part in meeting new people. So, the big question is, what exactly causes most people to rely on this masked version of themselves through first impressions? While there's a lot that goes into a first meeting, especially for someone who considers themselves to be introverted by nature, anxiety and fear of judgment usually play a major role. The INFJ not only knows this to be true for themselves, but they also can easily decipher natural confidence from artificial confidence when first meeting someone. Of course, natural confidence seems to be a recurring strength of those with more extrovert-leaning personality types. However, despite how contagious and genuine natural confidence is, it doesn't fool the INFJ into thinking any differently compared to someone that's more on their caliber. INFJs don't necessarily see shyness or self-containedness to be a weakness as some other people would. And similarly, someone's outgoing and captivating nature doesn't impress them upon their initial meeting either. Which brings us to number 4. They can't form opinions without deeper revelations. Truth seekers at heart, INFJs rarely take things or people for face value. While certain first impressions may just end up being all the INFJ needs to form an accurate judgment of someone, it's extremely true that this is the case. Through the absence of deep conversation, testing one's emotional regulation, and observations of how they treat other people, INFJs will deem another person a stranger until these revelations come to light. Despite their ability to form an accurate web of assumptions about another upon initial interaction, due to their introverted intuition and extroverted sensing, INFJs need to see people in their most vulnerable states in order to interpret their own assumptions fully. Not only does this approach give others a chance to fully prove themselves before being judged, but it also gives the INFJ a deeper understanding of just how different first impressions are to the true character of the people they meet. The challenge in this case is finding the time and being open enough to allow people the time of day to get past the initial acquaintance stage of interconnection. Number 5. Initial impressions are automatically going to be biased. The human mind is an interesting thing, with everyone's realities and perspectives being slightly off from one another. Things like first impressions can also serve to be quite different. To the INFJ, who inspects others' thoughts and opinions with a fine-toothed comb, they understand that upon first meetings, two people can walk away with completely different judgments of one's character, despite being a part of the same conversation. In fact, not only does this difference show that people have different interpretations of things like body language, slang, personality, and demeanor, but it also demonstrates that impressions are mostly rooted in the observer's state of mind and past experiences. For the INFJ, who often plays devil's advocate due to their empathetic and sensing abilities, first impressions open up multiple angles of perspective for them, often making it difficult to biasly choose just one. This is also the concept they remind themselves of when going into situations where they feel obliged to make a good first impression of themselves. In the end, there's nothing they can do to change the lens through which others see them in. Number 6. First impressions are often calculated through hearsay. On the topic of biased perspectives, first impressions are easily swayed and manipulated through the opinions of others. In fact, when meeting someone that a trusted friend has previously interacted with, we often get a little synopsis of who that individual is. It's through these pre-existing ideas of another that humans go into preconditioned first impressions with an already painted presumption of what to expect. In fact, rooted in the INFJ's disinterest in gossip and rumors, most people with this type believe that hearsay can alter one's entire perspective of another without even meeting them at all. This is what makes first impressions so loosely formed and easily altered. Despite everyone perceiving other people through different lenses, a trusted opinion can go a long way when it comes to judging people we hardly know. And despite knowing this to be true, the INFJ can easily fall victim to this type of subconscious and unintentional manipulation of thoughts, making it even more difficult to trust their own interpretations of someone's character. Number 7. Lack of time adds unnecessary pressure. Interviews, first dates, you name it. When there's a set-up first impression with limited timing, the pressure to prove yourself becomes all too apparent. For the INFJ type, not only do these types of high-pressure meetups cause serious pre-attendance rumination, but they also add an additional layer of difficulty due to feeling obligated to share so much about themselves in such a short amount of time. For most people, preparing for a professional interview or first date involves mentally sorting through their own personal traits and deciphering which ones are worth mentioning without making them seem egotistic, all while trying to take mental note of the things the other person is sharing about themselves. Sure, we can get either a positive or negative vibe about a person upon first meeting, but time restraints limit our ability to get to know someone beyond a superficial level. And lastly, number 8. They can see the toxicity behind snap judgments. INFJs not only accurately observe others, but they also appreciate the difference they see in how different humans present themselves. With different expressions, gestures, and habits, everyone carries themselves with a unique twist, so unique that others often fail to appreciate them for what they are. Without the ability to relate to another on some level, humans are naturally quick to judge, ultimately leading to contributing to the everyday prejudice and discrimination in the world. INFJs see firsthand what snap judgments can do to humanity as a whole. And with that understanding, most people with this empathetic personality type refuse to be overthrown by this unconscious narrative. Regardless of their own necessity to see others for who they are at their core, INFJs can also see just how destructive it can be to take the alternative approach. Well, psychos, that's it for today. So, how seriously do you take first impressions as an INFJ personality type? Also, make sure to leave us a like, share with your friends, and also subscribe to our channel so that you never miss a video.